Hello, hello, hello. My name is Bree. And today we are just going to do some ordinary yoga. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, nothing impressive, just your basic shapes to feel in. Because asana, the physical poses or postures of yoga, are just one of the 8 limbs of yoga. You have pranayama, which is breath work. You have discipline, self-inquiry, concentration, meditation, ethics, all these other things that are woven into our yoga practice that make up our unique experience. It's not all about the poses. And so often the West tends to focus on the physical postures. And not to say that there's anything good or bad or right or wrong about it, but our yoga practice is so much more than that. And it made me think about how, so often we feel we might have to do something extraordinary, right? To be something, to be someone. And that this ordinary life is something to be ashamed of. And there's so much that those ordinary moments have to offer us. And oftentimes we get the most out of those ordinary moments that are unwitnessed, that's where a lot of the magic happens. And so I was listening to Alan Watts again, and he had mentioned the quote, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? And more importantly, to think about our lives in a similar way, where if there's no one around to validate our experiences, does our life still have meaning? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes. That we don't need to be recognized or approved or validated to have meaning or value in our life. And so often those ordinary moments are more profound than the ones that are curated and photographed to perhaps suggest something more. And so, just thinking about that, maybe seeing if that lands, if it made sense. Sometimes I ramble. To know that an ordinary life is nothing to be ashamed of, and that we all are here for a reason. So with that, let's start in a cross-legged position and just connect with our breath. Just observing. And as we observe, we make that connection to the present moment. And so closing the eyes or softening the gaze down, maybe placing the palms down on the knees, rolling the shoulders down and back. And just begin to focus on the breath. Breathing deeply into the belly, feeling it expand. And then exhale, gently softening. Doing that 2 or 3 more times, taking big, deep belly breaths, fully expanding, and then exhale, letting it contract. Once more, big breath in. Maybe an audible exhale out. Great. Let's make our way into tabletop. So coming onto all fours, spreading the fingers wide, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and really pressing into each individual finger in the heel of the hand. So making this connection with yourself and the earth. And then just move through some cat-cow. So on an inhale, soft bend in the elbows, belly drops, gaze up into cow. And then exhale, press the ground away as the back rounds, tailbone drops into cat. Good. Inhale, arching into cow. And then exhale, rounding into cat. So 2 or 3 more rounds like this, moving at your pace. Just moving and breathing. Noticing what you notice. And maybe going slower than you normally do here to really pick up on some of the subtleties of the body. Finding this movement in the spine. And then on your next round, or after your next round, meeting in a neutral tabletop position. Placing the left hand underneath the gaze, and then inhale, rotate yourself open towards the right. Right fingertips reach up towards the sky. Shoulder blades draw together. And then exhale, round the back as you thread the arm through. Releasing the head down, coming into thread the needle. Maybe the left hand stays in front of the gaze. You can walk it out in front and over. Come into a bind. As always, listening to your body and what you need. Another full round of breath here. And then wherever you are, walking that hand back in front of the gaze, if it's not already, pressing down through that left hand. Inhale, lift yourself all the way up, reaching. And then exhale, release the right hand down. And then we'll switch sides. So right hand plants just underneath the gaze. Inhale, open yourself up towards the right. Left fingertips reach up. Exhale, thread it through. And your top arm can find a place that feels nice in the body, that feels sustainable. And staying here for a couple rounds of breath. And as I always say, or you always hear, to listen to your body, I know that that's something that I've been trying to do more of. I originally had something else planned for today's practice, but especially in these colder winter months, my body has been really asking for me to slow down. And so really noticing how you feel after certain movements. Bring the hand back in front of the gaze if it's not already. Inhale, press down through that right hand to open yourself back up. And then exhale, release that left hand to meet the right. Begin to walk your hands forward towards the top of the mat. Shift yourself forward and slowly melt yourself down. So pelvis, belly, chest. And we'll actually come into Sphinx. So forearms to the ground, creating a 90-degree in the arms. Maybe seeing if you can spread the fingers wide. Release the shoulders down the back. And gazing just in front of you. So really feeling all points of contact here with the arms, the pelvis, the tops of the legs. And seeing if you can energetically draw the elbows towards the hips and the hips towards the elbows as the heart reaches forward. And finding length in the back of the neck. So a lot of little things going on here to create activation. And just steady breath here, breathing fully. Feeling the strength in the body and the back and the arms holding this pose. And then exhale, melt yourself all the way down. Forehead touches the earth. Hands come to the sides of the chest. And go ahead and press yourself back, child's pose. Knees can be wide or together. And just staying here for a couple rounds of breath. Breathing into the back body. And then on your next inhale, we're going to come to a seat on the shins. So dragging the hands towards you as you start to stack the spine and finding a seat on the shins. Inhale, the arms go wide, reaching up towards the sky. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Twice more. Inhale, arms float up. And then exhale, press palm into palm as you draw the hands to heart center. Good. Once more. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, slowly, hands meet at heart center. Good. This time we're going to inhale the arms up, press down through the shins to lift the hips up. And then we're going to bring the right foot forward and find low lunge, Ardha Hanumanasana. Shoulders roll down the back and keeping the spine long. So we're not going to dump too much in the hips. So seeing if we can keep some integrity here in low lunge. So energetically drawing the front heel and the back knee toward one another. Seeing if that changes any activation for you or sensation. And then exhale, sprinkle the hands down to frame the foot. Lengthen that front leg as the hips go back. Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. So toes lift, heart pulls forward as the hips go back. And just breathing into the right hamstring. On your next inhale, bend the knee, bringing you forward, back up through low lunge. And then exhale, bring the knee back, hands to heart center as you sit back, hips to heels. Good. We'll do that on the other side. Inhale, arms go wide, lift the hips, press down through the shins, step that left foot forward, and find your low lunge on this side. Knee stacked over the ankle. And relaxing the shoulders away from the ears as the fingertips reach up. Good. Full round of breath in and out. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release the hands down to frame the foot. Lengthen that front leg as the hips go back. Maybe keeping a slight bend in that front leg. Heart reaches forward as the hips pull back. So really getting this activation here as we lengthen forward and back. And on your next inhale, begin to bend the front knee, arms sweep up, low lunge, and then bring the left knee to meet the right. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, press down to lift up. And then we'll come back into low lunge on the right side. So bringing that right foot forward. And then exhale, release the hands down. We'll plant the left hand on the inside of the right foot and come into a low lunge twist, reaching right fingertips up towards the sky. Drawing shoulder blades back together. And then this time, exhale, release the right hand inside the right foot and find lizard pose. Maybe feeling a nice stretch in the left hip flexor. And your choice to stay up on the hands. If it's in your practice, maybe dropping down to forearms. My hips are not that flexible, so I'm going to stay up. Great place for blocks too. And then exhale, begin to lengthen that front leg, and we'll come into a variation of half splits. So once more, heart lengthens forward as the hips reach back. And then walking yourself forward, bending that knee, lifting up, low lunge, and then bring right knee to meet the left. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time, inhale, lift all the way up. Bring the left foot forward. Relax the shoulders down. Energetically bring left heel and knee towards one another. Help create some space and some length. And then exhale, plant the hands. Right hand stays as left hand peels open. Low lunge twist. Breathing fully here. Exhale, release left hand on the inside of the left foot, maybe walking that left foot out a little bit and finding your lizard here. Maybe staying still or finding movement. Good. And then exhale, lengthen that front leg, toes lift, finding this variation of Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. And something I notice about myself too when it comes to my yoga practice is it's always shifting. It's always changing. Sometimes I am heavy in the asana work, and then there's some times where I'm really into self-study and just learning about myself, reading the literature. Bend that front knee, come up through low lunge, and then bring that left knee back. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms go wide, reaching up, and we'll find a gentle twist. So exhale, rotate towards the left. Let the shoulder blades drip down the back. Maybe heart pulls forward just slightly. And find a steady breath. And so yeah, there's no wrong way to do yoga. It's unique to you and your experience. I think it's easy to compare, especially with the multiple social media platforms. And just becoming curious when we find ourselves comparing. What is it that we need? Inhale through center. Exhale over towards the left. Reaching through the crown of the head. And just letting yourself rinse out. Inhale back to center and exhale, hands to heart center. Let's come into Uttanasana. So forward, a seated forward fold. So coming to a seat, extending the legs long. And just finding this nice long line of energy, rooting down through the sit bones, finding length in the spine, the back of the neck, reaching through the crown of the head. And so even maybe taking a moment here in Dandasana, staff pose. Hands might meet the earth. And just sitting up tall. Breathing into this space. And then on your next exhale, begin to slowly fold yourself forward. And again, once again here, maybe keeping a slight bend in the knees. Finding your version of a seated forward fold. And just sending your breath to all the spaces of the body. And inhale yourself up. Bend the knees, plant the feet. Maybe scoot yourself forward. Go ahead and wrap your arms around the legs and just drop the head down towards the knees. And then we'll slowly roll ourselves down. So maybe grabbing for behind the knees. And just slowly lowering down, bringing knees along for the ride. So knees towards the chest, hugging them in. Maybe finding a gentle rock from side to side. And then go ahead and extend both legs up towards the sky. When the arms rest along the body, can be palm up or palm down. Maybe picking up the head and lengthening the neck and relaxing the head back down. Just a variation of legs up the wall. You're welcome to find a wall to rest the legs up on. I always love this one because not only does it help lengthen and stretch the low back, but there is this balance between effort and ease, where I'm holding my legs up, but also it does feel effortless at the same time. Even more so when propped up against the wall. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release the legs back down. And we'll meet in Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet come together, knees go wide. And again, finding wherever you'd like to keep the arms. Maybe they're out wide, maybe they're placed somewhere on the body. And just coming back to the breath. And just maybe noticing how, even just in your yoga practice, when things start to overcomplicate or when they become more simplistic, noticing the difference between how we function afterward. Like I had mentioned, I had a different sequence that I was going to share. But I noticed myself more so going through the motions and not really embodying it. And how often in life do we just go through the motions without paying attention to what's right in front of us? Couple more deep rounds of breath here, really lengthening the exhale. And taking your time, whenever you're ready, you can begin to roll over onto one side. And gently press yourself up to a seated position. And bringing hands to heart center to close off our practice. Thanking yourself for carving out the time and space for you today. And to do an ordinary practice and still receive as much benefit from any other practice. And that our practices don't have to be super long or extravagant to receive the benefit. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I look forward to joining you somewhere again on your mat. Namaste.